on different equipment tonight, so you might have to turn your volume up a little bit. I am not on the normal camera and mic that I normally have. Usually I have a mic that is right here. I'm snugged right up close to the camera I'm using tonight. You might have to turn your volume up a little bit, and I'm going to try my best to speak up as loud as I can. So hopefully you can hear me at least a little bit. Typically I have my husband to help me with getting things together, getting things rolling, and he's not here tonight. He's out working, and those of you that don't know, my husband is a videographer, so everything that I use here and all of the capabilities of this is all because of my husband being able to help me put it all together. So I'm going to go ahead and put the intention up here. I'm trying to speak up really, really loud here. So like I said, you might have to turn your volume up a little bit this week. Thank you for bearing with me. Intention for this week. My perspective can shift. My perspective can shift. My perspective can shift. So I'm really excited about this week. I think we have some cool energy that is here about and around us. Starting with today. Today is the full moon, so happy Gemini full moon to all of you that are here with us. The sun is in the sign of Sagittarius. The moon was in the sign of Gemini. It has now moved on to the sign of Cancer. But about 4 o'clock this morning, the full moon was exact. Maybe you got a peek at that beautiful light in the sky last night or early this morning. If there wasn't too many clouds, personally I was able to see it in between the clouds, but not a whole lot. Good. Volume is up. High. Good, good, good. Ooh, saw a shooting star. Very cool. Don't see those all the time. Had some really cool things that we've been able to see in the sky recently, like just over this past year with all of the northern lights and things that have been seen a lot further south than they normally are. Lots of people looking up. Yeah, lots of cool things going on. So today, the full moon in the sign of Gemini, so we are at the culmination of the lunation, the lunar cycle that we are in currently. So heightened energy of different kinds. Things coming in kind of intensely, things coming in full force, full illumination, seeing things as they fully are, some heightenedness. So we have that lovely full moon energy that we have today. Mercury has been retrograde, and Mercury is stationing to go direct. So by tomorrow, Mercury is going to be going direct. Now, it was right around the new moon that Mercury was stationing to go retrograde. It went retrograde just before the new moon that started a couple weeks ago. And now at the full moon, we have Mercury stationing to go direct. So we've talked a lot about how Mercury has been very prevalent and had a lot to say, that it's still the case, and part of what we have going on this week. So the full moon coming through Sunday. By Monday into Tuesday, Mercury will be fully moving forward and out of its retrograde period. And then on Thursday, we have Venus trining Jupiter. So we have an air trine between the two benefic planets. I like that this is happening just as Mercury is moving forward in the sign that Jupiter, that is ruled by Jupiter. So Mercury in the sign of Sagittarius, starting to move forward. Whatever that reworking period has been for you in the sign of Sagittarius, whatever has been revisited or things that we've had to look at again, all of those coming back to things, all of those things now are starting to move forward in some way, or at least they're going to start to here soon move forward. So we have this heightened full moon energy, and then Mercury goes direct. Mercury stops, turns, and moves forward. So all of that revisiting, all of that reworking, that process is now done for now, or at least moving on to the next step. That does not mean whatever has come up for you within this retrograde is fully just out of the picture. That means we're moving on to the next chapter. Just as we get ready to move on to that next chapter, that next phase, we have a trine between the two benefic planets coming in. Both planets are in air signs. So Venus is in the sign of Aquarius, and Jupiter is in the sign, is in the sign of Gemini, which is Mercury's sign. Gemini is in Mercury sign, and Mercury is in Jupiter's sign. We've talked a lot about that lately, about how there is this communication back and forth between those two planets, so not necessarily dwelling on that, but just pointing that out. But it does tie these two planets together a little bit closer. So that's where this, as Mercury is moving forward in Sagittarius' sign, and Jupiter is coming into contact with Venus while it's in Mercury's sign. It's a nice little positive bump for both of these planets. So anytime that you get Venus and Jupiter coming together, the two benefic planets, the two supposed good doers, or the planets that bring abundance, that bring blessings, that bring positive, wonderful things, they bring expansion, they bring cohesion, they bring excitement, they bring blessing, they're coming together in an air sign. So that tells us that there is some sort of cohesion, some sort of working together, or some sort of unification of these air elements. So the air elements, our thoughts, our mind, our communication. In the sign of Gemini, the way we understand things, the way that we look at little teeny pieces of information and say, okay, I want to learn more about this thing. Aquarius, the air sign of, okay, how does this affect the whole part? How does this affect the whole group or the whole situation? There's this way in which there's a progression within each of the elements, starting with the first elemental sign of that element. So thinking of air signs, since that's what we're speaking with, the first one is the first air sign in the zodiacal wheel is Gemini. So there's this way that which Gemini focuses on the mental air realm, those communications, and the way that we connect with other people by our words and by our thoughts and the way that we perceive the other people. There's a way that Gemini does that in a centrally located, or a piece by piece way. Okay, so Gemini has this way of kind of focusing a little bit centrally, not that it doesn't want to take in all the different information, but it wants to look at it all kind of singularly, one piece at a time. Then you move on to the next air sign in the zodiacal wheel. You get to the sign of Libra. Libra doesn't necessarily look at one thing, it looks at maybe two things. So there's a duality and there's a balancing. Think of the scales of justice that we associate with the sign of Libra. So Gemini is more like a magnifying glass, looking at one thing specifically. Then we move on to the air sign of Libra, where we're looking at two different things and maybe comparing them, how they work together, how they don't work together, how they're harmonized or not harmonized. And then we get to Aquarius, which is the third and final air sign in the zodiacal wheel. Now there's this way that we're looking at everything as a whole. We're taking all of these pieces that we went through Gemini and through Libra, and we're seeing how they work together as a whole, how they fit together collectively, through a community, through a group, through a collective of some kind, through a group of ideas. And you see this with each one of the air signs, or each one of the elements as they progress through the zodiacal wheel. If you meditate on the elemental signs through the zodiac wheel in this order, you'll notice that there's this progression from kind of singular to like a relationship type consideration, to like a cumulative or a collective type assessment of some kind. So now with this air sign trine, we're looking at Gemini and Aquarius. So we're looking at the single, looking at one little individual piece, and we're looking at the whole, we're looking at the group all at the same time. So how does this work? How do these two come together, and how does that work within a trine? Well, there's this ability to look at the little teeny pieces and the little details, and my mental realm, your mental realm, and able to cohese that together with, okay, how does my mental process work with your mental process, and how do we bring that together for the group, for the collective, for the full energy? Or within your own mental sphere, if you're not necessarily talking about another person, how do I bring this little idea of mine, and this little idea, and then this little tidbit of my mind, and how do I unify all of these together in a collective way that is reaching forward in somehow? there is an ability to expand, there is an ability to progress, there is ability to move forward. These are all words that I was contemplating using within the intention, but I wanted to keep it a little bit more neutral because you guys all know that I preach that these transits can go either way. Can go more positive or less beneficial. There is definitely a spectrum which all transits can go across. However, when you have a trine between the two benefics, there is a very good chance of this working out beneficially some way. It may be that we have to look at different things. We may have to have a little bit of a step back to look at the things and see how we're able to bring these two things together, whether they're thoughts, whether they are ideas, whether they are the way we perceive things, whether they are some sort of mental status, whether it's communicating with another individual or communicating with yourself, communicating with higher source. There's a cohesion and there's a bringing things together. So two things that may have previously been existing, maybe coexisting together, coexisting on their own, but not able to come together. Now there's this way that the two of those within the mental sphere can come together. You know, we often think of connections and connecting with others through the water element, and water is very much a connector. It's for one, it's a conductor, but two, it connects. It's the life force. Okay, water connects us through life, through life-giving fluids and substances that that hold us all in different ways. However, we're connected through the air element, through our connections of our thoughts, the way we communicate, the way we talk to others, the way others talk to us, the way our ideas affect others, the way that our ideas are able to reach other people as we share our ideas, the ways that we are able to communicate with others and have others prompt us to think about different processes, think about things different ways. So there's lots of different ways that we are able to connect with others. And there's definitely mental air realm connections as well as watery connections. So with this air trine, just as Mercury stations to move direct and to go forward, and just as Mercury is saying, okay, I have relooked at things in this fire sign, I've relooked at things, I have reconsidered, and now I'm ready to move forward. Now how can we expand whatever I've reconsidered, and how can we expand that outward? How can we use that to come up with something beneficial? Well, there's Venus and Jupiter ready to go in a trine where they are ready to work together and to extend and broaden and expand something beneficial, something helpful, something that is going to help you move along your path somehow. Now, this could very easily become move into something that is you know, we could expand too much, we can enjoy too much, we can move forward too much, we could talk too much, we could say too much, we could you know, not necessarily listen to others' opinions and thoughts and feelings. We could get stuck on the small details or the big picture details in this sign, in the sign of Gemini and Aquarius. But really, these two planets are able to work together. So how are you able to add to the abundance and the blessings that are around here? And how can you utilize the blessings and the abundance and the cohesive energy that these two planets are bringing together this week? Is there ways that you can create further cohesion within your mind and within your relationships with others through the way that you communicate with them? Are there things that you have to say that are positive? Are there compliments that you can give? Are there ways that you can acknowledge like what you like in a person or what you like in a certain style of thought? There is lots of energy this week for these two planets to work together on that mental realm. Somebody that maybe has been having some sort of mental turmoil or some sort of mental struggles, whether that's just trying to make a decision on something, or you know, maybe some sort of struggle that's a little bit deeper than that, there's good possibility and good energy this week for some sort of resolve to come through that. Now, my perspective can shift. The Jupiter-Saturn square is getting closer together, so we've been talking about that quite a bit, about how there are shifts of beliefs, shifts of paradigm, shifts of energy, structural shifts of energy coming through. So as these two planets are getting closer to their exact square, we start to see ways that our structures are shifting. We see the way that our beliefs may be shifting a little bit. We see ways that the foundations of our lives may be starting to shake a little bit and tremble a little bit, to where we know that there's something more, or there's some sort of next step, and that we are moving towards that. Your perspective is a culmination of your mental sphere, right? Your perspective, excuse me, I'm trying to talk pretty loud here. Hopefully you all can hear me well. Your perspective comes from and has something to do with the way you think about things, the way you communicate, the way others communicate with you, and the way all of these mental processes come together. So as these two are coming together, we start to notice shifts. And then as Mercury moves direct, there is a shift in the mental process of, okay, we were revisiting things, now we're moving forward. And then Venus and Jupiter come together in this air trine. Definite possibilities of expanding the mental sphere, opening up, or drilling down on the mental sphere and the mental processes here as well. So these, excuse me, these are the things that I'm looking at this week, as well as the fact that we have the winter solstice coming up next Saturday. Did not forget about that. Excuse me, I need a little drink. So next Saturday is the winter solstice. That marks 0 degrees of Capricorn, so the sun moves into the sign of Capricorn next Saturday. So happy early birthday to all of you Capricorn suns. The solstice, not just the winter solstice, but the two solstices and the two equinoxes. Very, very special periods, points in time for many, many different traditions. As far as astrologically goes, here we follow the Western zodiac, we follow the tropical zodiac, not the sidereal zodiac. So the solstices and the equinoxes, those are what tether down and anchor our zodiacal wheel. Some of you may have heard people say, like, oh, when you say that it's Aries season, the sun isn't really on the constellation of Aries. Or there's been different like memes and pictures going across the internet that like, if you were an Aries, now you're a Pisces, like that type of thing, where it's shifting. That is in response to the precession of the equinoxes, which has been happening for thousands of years. Excuse me. So due to the precession of the equinoxes, that 0 degrees Aries point has shifted based on where the actual constellations are. However, 0 Aries is where pins the Western tropical zodiac, the zodiacal wheel, and we pin that to the spring equinox. So that is the start of our Western zodiacal wheel. Excuse me. So on the spring equinox, we get 0 Aries. On the summer solstice, we get 0 Cancer. On the fall equinox, we get 0 Libra. And at the winter solstice, the seasons are based on the northern hemisphere. So those friends of ours that are in the southern hemisphere, sorry that I'm talking about this northern hemisphere centric, but that's where I am at. So it's a little bit easier. Those are just the names that just roll off the top of my tongue. So 0 Capricorn is the winter solstice, and this is the point where If you are in the northern hemisphere, it'd be opposite if you're in the southern hemisphere. If you're in the northern hemisphere, our days have slowly been getting shorter. We've been losing minutes each day of daylight. Dark time has been slowly increasing. Daylight slowly decreases until we get to that 0 Capricorn, until we get to that winter solstice. Then, just as quickly as that sun started to decline and started to lose daylight, it turns around and it slowly starts to come back up. So 0 Capricorn is the place where we see, in the northern hemisphere, we see the rebirth of the sun. We see the phase change from losing light into gaining light. Now, in the southern hemisphere, it would be the exact opposite. But it would be the opposite, where we are going from gaining light, just like we would see in the northern hemisphere at 0 Capricorn or 0 Cancer, has been slowly gaining light, and just as quickly as that sun gets to the peak of daylight, it slowly starts to come down. So these are shifting points of light for the sun. So the whole entire zodiacal wheel, which we've talked about this before, is based on the solar story of light equality. So not only does it pin our zodiacal wheel, but the solstices and the equinoxes have been important points in time, sacred points in time, across many, many traditions for millennia. As far back as I can see, as far back as we have been paying attention to the sun and the moon, and as far as I can tell, that has been as far as humans have been around. So not only is it the sun shifting from one sign to another, it's a shift in the solar light. So either we are going from a time where the sun has been slowly decreasing in power and ability, and now it's going to slowly start to go back up, which is where I'm at in the northern hemisphere, or it's going to be the vice versa. It's going to be that the light has been increasing and now it's going to start to decrease. It's a big energy shift either way. So it's a monumental moment that this whole entire week leads up to. I really, really like the energy that we have going on this week. We also have a square between the sun and Neptune happening this week as well. That is a call to do something. The squares, remember, they make us yearn for something more. The scratchy aspects, they make us want to work or want to move. They make us slightly uncomfortable. When we have a square between the sun and Neptune, it feels like a yearning. It feels like a reaching for something, reaching for a connection, reaching for some sort of soul connection, some sort of deeper, meaningful connection. And as Venus and Jupiter are coming through in this trine, excuse me, I've also been working through a little bit of a cold in this house. So, as the sun and Neptune are coming through this square, reaching for some sort of deeper connection, some sort of deeper level of meaningship, whether that's personal in your own sphere, whether that's connecting with others or connecting with spirit that is around us. There is this moment, just as we are yearning for that, to be able to make a mental connection between Venus and Jupiter. So whatever it is that you're yearning for, whatever this connection is that you are reaching for, there is the ability to bring these together. So really, really cool energy that we have coming on this week. To me, is what it feels like. There's good potential, good possibility. My perspective can shift. My perspective can shift to include more. It can shift to allow us to experience something else, allow us to think a different way, allow us to let in more experiences by letting our perspective shift a little bit. Sometimes we block things a little bit by not letting them come right in. And then the card that we pulled for this week is the Page of Swords. Talk about stepping into a new mental realm. The page is enthusiastic. The page is the first of the court cards. So it's stepping into a new level of energy, of of some kind. But there is enthusiasm, there is a youthfulness, there is a almost an innocence of just wanting to take all of the things in. And that is a little bit of what I see going on with this energy that we have going this week, where Mercury turns direct and it says, okay, I'm ready to move forward now. Venus and Jupiter are like, okay, how can we expand this? What else can we bring forward? What can you give me? What can I give you? How can we share these things together? And then we have that very special solstice moment wrapping up the end of the week. So for this week, my perspective can shift, my perspective can change, my perspective not exactly sure what happened there. Guess there's like a timer or something on this camera. Like I said, totally different equipment. If you didn't hear me say in the beginning to turn your volume up, go ahead and turn your volume up. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it really cut off much more than what I was actually trying to say. I just think that this energy this week is very expansive, very forward moving, and very much about the mental realm. So that ability to shift, that ability to change your perspective, that ability to let more in or block more if that's where you feel like you need to be, is all there. And the Page of Swords is telling us that we're stepping into something new, but we're doing it from a youthful, enthusiastic, excited and ready to be here level. So really what I want to focus on this week is I want to focus on expanding the mind. I want to focus on just opening up, but not just opening up wide to just accept like whatever wants to come in, come in. Because I do think that having some sort of parameters, some sort of safeguard, some sort of framework to work in, some sort of idea of where we want to go. I'm assuming that as I'm saying these things, most people have something coming into their mind like, yes, that is what I want to expand on right now. That is what I've been working towards. That's what I want to keep moving towards. That's what I want to keep working towards. So think about expanding the mental realm around some sort of specific thing, whatever the big focus is within your own life. It can be something that feels mental. It can be something that feels physical because there is an airy quality to just about anything that we experience. So that's what we're going to work on today, is expanding. Okay, I'm going to leave that intention up for one more moment. My perspective can shift. My perspective can shift. Fun, cool energy that we have this week. Gonna remove the intention off of there. We have our intentional candle here as always. And I'm gonna light the intentional candle. As I do, I encourage you to say the intentional phrase with me in any capacity that you can. I'm going to state it out loud. If you can say it out loud, if you can say it in your head, if you can write it down, however you can participate. So, light our intentional candle. As I light the intentional candle, flame ignites and the flame grows. As the flame grows, so does our intention. My perspective can shift. My perspective can shift. Whatever you have felt has been in the way, whatever you have felt hasn't been able to fully express itself, bring that into this meditation. Whatever you're yearning for, whatever you see in front of you, but you haven't quite fully grasped it, you haven't fully went for that thing, bring that into this meditation. you to find a nice comfortable seated position, or you could be laying down, or you could be standing, whatever works well for you where you are right now. And come to a place of stillness. Come to a place of physical stillness when you're ready to do so. As always, we begin by checking in with our breath. If you're ready to close your eyes, go ahead and do so. If you're not quite ready to close your eyes yet, then just soften your gaze and find a point that you can look towards, maybe look at, but try not to focus too intently on that space. And then you bring your attention to your breath. As we start by recognizing our breath, as we start by noticing our breath, as we start by honoring our breath, our goal is not to change, alter, judge, or place any emotional feeling on the breath. Just noticing and honoring the quality of the breath that you have come to this meditation with. Noticing if your breath feels shallow, noticing if your breath feels deep and full and complete. Notice if it feels slow and calm, or if your breath feels rushed and hurried. Once we've taken a moment to check in with our breath and where the level of energy is within the breath at the moment, we then start to deepen the breath. Here, you take in your next inhale, and your goal here is only to have the inhale be slightly deeper and slightly longer than the inhale that came before that. As you take this breath in, you start to notice the changes that happen within your body as you breathe in. You notice as that air enters your lungs, it cools the back of your throat. You notice that your abdomen starts to distend. Maybe you notice that your navel moves away from your spine. Through this process, your diaphragm has lowered, making more space for those lungs that are full of that wonderful oxygen. And as you release the breath, here your goal is for the exhale to be slightly longer and releasing slightly more air than the exhale that came before that. You start to notice the physical changes that happen within your body as you exhale. You notice as you start to release the air through your nose or your mouth that your lungs start to deflate. Maybe if your abdomen was distended, your navel moves back towards your spine, towards a neutral position. Diaphragm comes back into a normal neutral position. And noticing how you feel once you've released all that breath within your lungs. Notice the combined feeling of emptiness and fullness at the same time. There is a feeling of emptiness as your lungs have emptied out all of the air. But there's a feeling of wholeness within the surrender, of knowing that something or someone, universe, God, loved ones, whatever feels right to you, you know within this space and supports you. Next, inhale in, breathing in and breathing out in your own time, at your own pace, connecting to your own breath. Here you continue the process of breathing in and out within your own experience. Focusing on no more other than the breath as it moves in and out of your body and the changes that come along with it. As you continue this process of breathing in and breathing out, I now want you to bring back in that thing, that idea, that action, that thing that you've been reaching for that we discussed a moment ago. As you continue breathing in and out, taking that journey of the breath, I want you to take this idea with you on the journey. And as you move through the process of inhaling and exhaling, on the inhale, as you take this yearning, this idea, this thing along with you for the ride, as you inhale, picture this idea, thought, thing, take your focus. We're going to just call it your focus. Take your focus, and as you inhale, imagine it expanding. Imagine it coming into its full, biggest, most powerful form that you can imagine. Watching it bloom, watching it blossom, watching it grow and grow and grow. And once you get to the top of the inhale, you are sitting with your focus in its highest imaginable state. Don't be afraid to get a little crazy. Don't be afraid to get a little wild with it. Dream big. See it coming into full, beautiful fruition, even better than you could have ever previously imagined. And then as you begin to exhale, you still continue to take that focus with you. But as you exhale, you notice it going from its full fruition, still with you, not leaving you. But you start to exhale and you start to slowly release what you've just experienced. This doesn't mean you're pushing it away. This doesn't mean that you are saying it's no longer a possibility, that it's not going to come to fruition. But as you exhale, you slowly start to release your grip and your concentration on this thing, noticing that it's still with you as you come down to the bottom of the exhale. Here, at the base of the exhale, your focus is still with you, but you are not holding on to it as tightly as you once were. You're not as focused on it because you know that it's there, you know that it's solid, and you know that it's firm. And you are allowed, because you allow yourself to surrender into a space of not forcing, not pushing, but just allowing be what it will be. Once again, take your focus on a ride with you through the inhale. As you breathe in, take your focus and see it growing, 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 growing into its most beautiful form where you meet it at the top of the inhale. Sit with it for a moment at the top of the inhale as you begin to ride down the exhale with this focus. Here you are allowing the focus to be whatever it will naturally be. Continuing this ride of bringing the focus up to a height, up to a fruition through the inhale, slowly releasing your grip on it through the exhale, knowing that it will still be right there with you. Continuing that process of breathing in and out, watching your focus grow, and then releasing. There is a delicate balance between focusing on what we want, focusing on what we are yearning for, focusing on what we desire and what we think we need, maybe what we know we need, and holding too tightly to the want of the focus. When we hold tightly to what we want, what could be, what should be, where we think we should be, what we should be doing, what we are not doing, there is a way in which you push away that very focus and that goal by focusing on what you do not have, what it is not, where it has not been and has not gone. And then we lose sight of the progress that we have made. So as we take our focus on this little ride with us through the inhale and through the exhale, we create and we cultivate energy, but we do not cling too tightly to what our ideal image of the focus is. We build it up, we give it love, we give it energy, but we allow it to go whichever way it's going to go. Knowing that there's a balance between putting in our own energy and allowing the universe to work it out for you. I continue to encourage you to continue on this journey, taking the inhale along with your focus on a ride together. Take the exhale and your focus on a ride together. When we exhale, when we release that air, we are letting go, we are surrendering. We are letting all of the air out of our lungs, knowing that the next breath will be waiting right there for us. Whether this happens consciously, through a meditation practice or through breathwork, or through the autonomic function of our respirations that happen without us even realizing it. Remember, as long as you are breathing, you have that connection to Source. You have that connection to the universe. We often think of our focuses, whatever that focus may be, of something that we are continually working towards, something we are moving towards, something that requires our effort, and it does. But just as much as it requires our focus, our attention, our action, and our words and our thoughts, there is a very special magic to where if we can shift our perspective to include both asserting our own will and bringing the thing to fruition through our own actions, there is a way in which if we can shift our perspective to trusting the universe and knowing that there is another component to bringing this focus into fruition. Call it fate, call it destiny, call it universal energies. We are co-creators of this reality, which means there is another part of the creation. Can you find that other part of the creation in the exhale? Can you surrender to the universe, to the breath, to the focus? Can you surrender to the focus to allow it to work itself out? Whatever the focus is in your life right now, whatever the first thing that came to your mind when we were discussing the astrological placements for this week. Let's take that on one final ride through the inhale. Together we meet at the bottom of the breath. And slowly we begin to inhale. Slowly. Make this the slowest, deepest breath you've taken in all day. And as you slowly start to inhale, take that focus and ever so slowly and ever so gently see it grow with your breath. See it in your mind's eye, expanding to its highest possible expression that you can imagine at this moment. Just go where your mind takes you. You're along for a ride on the breath. Inhaling, picturing the highest possible expression you can imagine at this moment. Feel free to be extravagant, to be bold with your visions. Highest possible you can imagine. Now comes time for the real trust and the real knowing. From this moment where you are standing with that highest possible expression, can you slowly slide down the exhale, releasing not only your breath, but also any expectations that you currently have for this focus. Expectations that have come from highest possible expression that you're visioning, or expectations that you came here with to this meditation. As you exhale and you slowly release that air from your lungs, can you also release any expectations, any stress, any tension, any holding on to, any grip of your current focus? Can you slide down the exhale and allow that focus to slide down next to you rather than within your grip? You might even see it sliding down the exhale. Take note of any colors, any sensations, anything that you imagine as you slide down to the bottom of the exhale. And maybe, just maybe, once you've gotten down to the bottom of the exhale and you've released all of the air from your lungs, just maybe you can also release your grip on this current focus. There may be necessity out of this focus. There may be dire situations. They may feel like need, have to, can't. These very definitive situations. But can you let go of that grip just for a moment as we meet at the bottom of the exhale, surrendering not only our breath, but also our control, our white knuckle grip on this focus that we so intently want to bring into our life. Can you release it? Can you shift your perspective just enough to allow the focus to be what it's going to be? Now see that focus next to you. See it at the bottom of the exhale, out of your grip, out of your control, but right there next to you still. Now picture that highest expression once more from this vantage point of not holding, not controlling, not constricting and squeezing and forcing, but just allowing it to flow into the beautiful expression that it can turn into. When we release our narrow grip, when we allow those white knuckles to release and the blood flow to come back, our perspective can shift and our mind can even expand. Expand to see more possibilities, more potentials, and more perspectives. I want to thank you today, not only for joining us here at this meditation, but I want to thank you for having the courage to take this focus and allowing it to ride alongside of you without gripping it so close and tightly to your being. I want to thank you for giving space to allow expansion as Venus and Jupiter come into this trine, expanding Mercury, who has been moving in a retrograde fashion, stations at this very moment to move into a direct motion, to move forward through the fire sign of Sagittarius. And a lightheartedness as we move towards 0 Capricorn, the solstice moment. The light has been slipping away in the northern hemisphere. But soon the light will start to come back. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. May you all be able to move forward with the energy of the Page of Swords. Mental clarity, the mental acuity to move forward in a positive, ready, exciting way. Let's all take one nice, big, clarifying breath in together. And the exhale. One more, because that felt good. See if you can breathe in and out through your nose. Putting your hands together. Palming the face if that feels nice. It's the way that I like to end a lot of my meditations, to kind of bring me back through a grounding practice. And thank you. I hope that you are able to move forward and expand and see things in a different perspective to allow even more abundance than you ever expected to come through this week. There's some really, really cool energy, and there's good possibility for building, like building blocks. That's what I'm thinking right now. Building blocks, connections to others, connections to our own mental realm, connections through communications with others. And I think that there are good possibilities to bring fruitful, beneficial things in this week. So that is my wish for all of you, that you have a great, wonderful week. And thank you for bearing with me when I have a quiet camera in front of me. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and I will see you all next week. Look next Saturday for the intention for next Sunday. That'll be just a couple days before Christmas, so if you are not able to catch this live next weekend because you are busy, I completely understand. I understand all the time, but remember that replays are always available, and remember to share these meditations with anybody else that you think will benefit from them. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you, and I will look forward to seeing you all next week.